Hey guys, Patrick here, and today I'm going to be talking about, well, if it was worth going and spending lots and lots of money to upgrade my GTX 980 SLI and Intel 4960K system to the i7 7700K and GTX 1080 Ti. What I have done before I took down the system, I did some tests on Firestrike, the 3D Marks testing software, and then I did the same stuff after on the new system. And look, I'm going to put the results up in a minute, but let's just talk about the system beforehand. The system beforehand that I had, the 980s and the 4790K were both overclocked, and the 980s had actually custom firmware installed on them. They were fully flashed to EVGA's OC firmware, which made the system a lot faster. The 980s were performing like those FTW versions, and they were just standard reference cards, which made me very, very happy. So they were doing very well already, and as you can see in the scores, they were doing super, super good. The 980s SLI had a score of 18,500 or so, and you know, that's a great score for a system like that. And you know, it might not translate very well into FPS, but I just really wanted to see the raw performance difference and hopefully calculate a little bit of return on the dollar, especially after selling my parts. So guys, the next one that I did, the next test was actually the 1080 Ti and the 7700K without any overclocks. Just standard, off the rack, ready to go, and it only did about 1,000 points better. So, well, look, it's better, it's 1,000 points, but think about it this way, the CPUs haven't really changed very well, and the 4960K was one of the best CPUs ever to come out of Intel. The Devil's Canyon, I think, was one of the best CPUs ever. I bought it knowing that I will be able to sell it for at least almost close to the amount that I paid for it. But it's all about the 980s and the 1080 Ti. Two GTX 980s in SLI that were overclocked to an FTW EVGA version were just under a 1080 Ti, which is really, really interesting because DDR4 made no difference. 1,000 more points and a lot more money to put in. Was it worth it? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Once I overclocked the cards and the CPU, I got over 20K. As you can see, that was a huge improvement, and that really is more of apples to apples. Overclocked system here, overclocked systems here, and that is a big difference. From 18,000 to 20,000, it's about 2K in points, and that is substantial to sort of say, okay, the system is a lot better, but it will also run a bit more efficiently. A lot less power draw, especially because you have one card, one CPU that also has a better TDP. So there's a lot of bonuses there. So guys, I spent $3,000 in all the upgrades, including parts that I didn't really need sort of to buy, but I bought anyway, you know, the acrylics and things like that. Stuff that I was actually fully gonna have to use new. I couldn't use something replacement for my old computer. But turned out that I was able to sell the computer parts out of my old computer for about $1,500 to $2,000. Why I say that is because I still have a few items left over going on Gumtree. So basically, and I'm going to say this at the top dollar side, about $1,500 went into the new CPU after selling all the old bits. So for $1,500, you get an improvement of about 2,000 points on Firestrike, but about 30 frames improvement on all games that I've played so far. Which means I can finally play Titanfall 2 at 100 Hz with this monitor. I can finally play GTA 5 at 100 Hz, and I can finally play a lot of other games that I just were lagging out because of the architecture of the 980s. But guys, at $1,500 improvement, was it actually worth it? Well, I probably could have lasted on the 980s a little bit longer, but I could also not be making all these fun videos and actually coming up and telling you, yeah, look, it probably isn't worth that much, but the improvement has made me happy, and it was just on the edge. If it fell anywhere lower than that, I would be like, oh, it wasn't really worth. So that's what I'm saying, guys. It was just on the edge. The improvement and the investment that I made was just over my minimum expectations of what was worthwhile. Because from now on, every single upgrade that you do is not going to give you that huge 50% upgrade. It just isn't. I missed out like 3 generations of CPUs, and it wasn't that much different when you had a top of the line back in the day. So when you are upgrading, look at it this way. Is it really time? Are you gonna get a benefit that's more than 20% improvement in performance? If it isn't more than 20 or 30%, it really isn't worth it, because the amount of money you're going to have to put in is gonna be, well, it's just not gonna be worth it. Guys, am I disappointed with this build? No. It's good, it looks nice. Obviously, there's a few issues that a few other videos of mine have attended to, but the improvement in pure performance, I'm minimally happy with it. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm minimally happy with it. I'm happy because the frame rates I'm getting in Tomb Raider are higher, the frame rates in Titanfall are much better, and Battlefield 1 just performs a lot smoother with a lot more detail. That's one of the things you might notice. You can now... And that's one of the things I noticed. I can put the details up very high and still play an acceptable frame rate. So actually, Witcher 3 plays the best. That game is now really fun to enjoy, and actually got me back into it over the weekend. I played a lot of it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope this has been a little bit informative about your next decision in making an upgrade to your computer, and I hope you make the right decision. If the improvement isn't substantial, don't get too angry. You'll be on the next, the DDR4 or the next 1080 Ti. Actually, I had a friend ask me, should he upgrade from a 1080 to a 1080 Ti? Well, I know the answer. You let me know in the comments what you think. Going from 1080 to 1080 Ti, would that be worth it? Personally, I don't think so. But, people make some funny decisions, and I think I was just above the line where I would say you made a funny decision. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, like, smash that like button. I heard people saying that apparently works. But, I don't expect anybody to smash it. And we'll see you in another video. Thank you very much.